Do you think I'm over exaggerating when I'm saying that you can become the god of science? And why do I call the god of science? Because my dear class 10th as well as class 9 students, a very warm welcome to Deeksha Vedantu. I'm your Aditi Ma'am. And in this video, I will tell you how to actually study science. Because we have been studying science from a lot of time. Actually, if you are transferring from 8th to 9th or you're going from 9th to 10th, you already know how tricky science can be, right? But there is a right way, right approach to study science, and if you do that, you can be nothing less than god of science. Because in this video, we are not just going to talk about how to score a lot in science, in your class 10 boards. So if you are genuinely interested in science, and obviously if you study science with your whole heart, you will get marks. There is no second thoughts in that. But if you are genuinely interested in science, then remain in this video. If you are not, you can even skip it. Okay, now starting with what an average student thinks. An average student thinks, I will read the chapter, I will underline a few lines, I will show it that I am underlining, and then I'll memorize the definitions for the exam. And then they think, why am I not getting good marks? And they might watch one video before the exam, because there are lots of stuff available on YouTube, so you can just watch anything and you're like, I'm prepared. And they think, why do I forget everything in the exam hall? That is not actually your fault. Your fault is just that you didn't find someone who actually had so much interest in science. Because one thing I've seen, if you find a teacher who loves that subject, you will eventually fall in love with that subject, right? Now, what a topper student does, or let's say what a god student does, beta, he doesn't just read the chapter. He or she understands the concept to the core. They know that understanding science is so much more important than underlining some keywords. Then they relate it with real life, and that is where the magic happens. You see evaporation, you read about evaporation, and you go, this is happening in my clothes, this is happening in lake, this is happening in earthen pot. And you see photosynthesis and see a leaf, and you go, photosynthesis happen in this, cellulose is here, this is there. And you see all those stuff. You started seeing the world from a different perspective that was so much hidden to you before you started loving science. Then of course, you have to practice for examinations. After understanding the concept, after relating it to real life, that concept is now engraved in their soul. But that concept they know, but to engrave it in their soul, they draw the diagrams, they test themselves, and they improve it, and they revise it smartly. They improve their mistakes, they revise the stuff that gave them problems the last time, and that is how they become into a student who just doesn't want to learn the concepts just for exam hall, but actually wants to understand science. And for the exam hall, they also do study how the examiner wants you to write questions as well. Write it like an examiner wants to see it. Whenever you give a test, you write this. If I am a teacher, will I be giving this question full marks? Where will I be cutting the marks? So hence you will improve it. You are your own judge, right? And that is where we improve. That is how we test. That is how we do mistakes. That is how we improve. And that is exactly what a topper student is made up of, continuously testing themselves. Now, for that, to become a topper student, I know you want to do that as well. Now, to become a topper, to become the god of science, there are only 3 hacks. Because becoming a god of science, beta, is not really a rocket science. It's very easy, and especially at your level, it's so easy. So I'll give you 3 hacks today, which I used, which my students always use, and I have combined them in this video today. So hack number One, do not read blindly. Stop reading science, start decoding the science. Whenever you stop reading it like a story, you read the chapter like a story, you made it sense, but you start memorizing the definitions. You don't understand the concept, you don't relate it to your real life, you don't ask questions. See, these are some of the questions that you should be asking. What is it? What is evaporation? Why does it happen? Why the evaporation happening? Because the molecules on the surface gain enough energy to leave the surface. That is why. Where do I see it in real life? Again, clothes are drying, earthen pot, drying of lakes in extreme hot. How can it be asked in the exam? How can it be asked in the exam? We will do that in the live sessions. Do not worry about that. So science is not just something you read, bacha. It is something you understand. Your soul knows that this is evaporation, this is photosynthesis, this is respiration, this is ray diagrams. That is how, because we have to decode every topic. For that we have to decode why this force is happening in this way, why this solution in chemistry looks like a brown solution and not a green solution, why iron turns a solution into a green solution, why a cell, what is a cell, why there exists a singular cell animal or a multicellular animal, why does all that happen? That is what we will decode in the coming series, the OG series for 10th, the A series for 9th. So subscribe the channel for that. Okay, then some of the examples are again evaporation, I already told you. So what a normal student will ask, what should I remember? A topper student asks, how does this actually work? A student who wants to become the god of science actually asks, how does this actually work? How does this relate to me, my life, to my parents' life maybe? Okay, then hack number 2. Turn every chapter into diagrams and flow charts and tables. See, we are human beings and we like seeing things. We have a picturesque memory. A lot of people have picturesque memory at I think. So a lot of people have picturesque memory. That means you see something and you remember the whole page. See, have you ever done that you can't remember something in your exam and you close your eyes and a whole page of paper just flashes in front of you, right? Okay, this topic was here, it was on this page. Maybe you don't remember the number, but you remember the image that was there on the page. That is picturesque memory. Why do you remember that? Because there was image on this page, there were different colors, there were flow charts, diagrams, tables in your NCERT, and that is why you have to start making notes effectively with this. Right? Because in biology you have to explain everything with diagrams, so that diagrams get engraved in your mind and you remember it easily. In physics you make graphs, you make diagrams, and that helps you to understand that concept better as well as to remember that concept for the examination better. In chemistry you make comparison tables between solution, colloidal solution, solute, solvent, right? And in we do make the flow charts as well, to then you remember chemical reactions, what is the color of which element has which color. So all those things matter a lot. So one visual should be what? You should have a diagram, you can make flow charts, you can make comparison tables, you can underline the keywords and the formulas, and you can highlight the common mistakes. Come in my live sessions and ask those mistakes as well. Right? If you can visualize, you can revise it faster. That is like the Ramban of you. We try to visualize everything. Okay. Hack number 3. Before that, we have a very good example. See, so they have written plant cell, so I have made a plant cell, clearly labeled everything. Then evaporation, see, without doing like this, evaporation, what is evaporation, why, real life exam. Now they have made a flow chart. You can easily remember the flow chart, right? What is it? Change of liquid water to water vapor from a surface. Why it happens? Surface particle gains enough energy to escape. Where do I see it? Puddles dry up right? Wet clothes drying, water in lakes, oceans and rivers, it dries up, so I see evaporation everywhere. Then they have made a solution versus suspension table, so you can easily remember it. That's how you make it work, right? That's how you make notes actually. Then act number 3, we have study like an examiner will check your paper. I told you, right? Write your answer and see if I will give it 5 marks or not, right? 5 out of 5 marks, 10 out of 10 marks or not, because in science we have to use scientific words. How to make your answer effective? Use scientific keywords, write precise terms. If the concave mirror is there, write concave mirror, do not write anything else. If the 5th case of concave mirror they have asked, so you write that the object is on the focals and the image will be not formed. Okay, so all those things you have to write. It will be virtual and direct. Do not write it is not real. Okay, so those are the things, small things that you have to take care of. Use words like force, solution, photosynthesis, refraction, right? Then keywords make answer sound scientific, and that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to think like a scientist. Okay, then for structure every answer. Whenever you write an answer, there should be structure in your answer, because I don't want to check a copy which has no structure. It's just messy theory all over. Right? You start with the direct answer, you give a direct line, then you go to the explanation, right? Point wise explanation, add a diagram if needed, end with the conclusion line. That's the basic structure we know, right? Introduction, conclusion, in that explanation in bullet points, and if diagram is needed. Very simple. Then follow proper numerical format. Now in physics, numericals are very important. In chemistry also you have lots of numericals. So I usually tells what is, how do you follow that? You write given, you write to find even, then you write the formula, then you substitute the values, do the calculation and write the final answer, right? So what you have to do for this to actually look to actually make your answer better, to actually make your preparation better, just revise one question daily. Every question daily rule, pick one question, write a full answer. This is very important. Do not leave the answer to calculation. Okay, I'll do the calculation after some time, or I know the formula, okay, just leave it. No, write the answer properly, write the given, to find, solution, explanation, substitution, diagram, everything, the conclusion line. Then check your answer, because sometimes you might have forgot to write something. Improve it, repeat daily, because do not just write what you know, write what gets you marks, because we say that understanding is a lot more important than getting marks, but it does not mean that marks are not important at all. Sometimes you know the thing, but you not know how to present it to the teacher so that they give you good marks. So we also have to learn presentation skills as well, right? And okay, you don't know, you don't want to learn presentation skills. You go into an office, you are doing a job and you don't know how to present your work. Someone else will get the promotion. That's where it is linked from. Yes, I'm not exaggerating. This is the foundation years. This is where you build all these skills. Okay, so bacha, start making your good habits from today only. Okay, that is it for this video. These are some of the hacks which I think if you follow properly, you can definitely become the god of science. Imagine a yellow light coming out of me. Okay, I'll meet you in the next one. The live sessions we are going live every day on this channel, so make sure you subscribe this channel and be with us, whether you are in 10th, whether you are in 9th, you are following A series or OG series. We are going to fully help you in all your preparation. This is your Aditi Ma'am. I'll meet you in the next video. Bye bye.